Hello, everybody. I hope you are doing fine. And we're going to start the video today with the topic of present perfect. This is gonna be a special series because this video is going to work both for pre-intermediate 2 and intermediate 1. Remember, I had told you that those two courses are practically like a deja vu or something like that because they cover practically the same topics. And we are going to start with present perfect. For pre-intermediate 2, first you study present perfect continuous and then present perfect. And for intermediate 1 is the other way around. First you start with present perfect and then present perfect continuous. And I'm going to start with present perfect, which is the most logical order, okay? So let me show you the material. So this is it. I'll start sharing. Okay, so as I told you, pre-intermediate 2 and pre-intermediate 1, the explanation for this first video is present perfect. And these are the pages depending on the book that you are using. This is the green book, so pre-intermediate and level. And this is the orange book, which is an intermediate book, okay? I'm using the explanation of pre-intermediate 2, okay? So maybe pre and intermediate 1 may be a little different, but I'm focusing on the first explanation that you ever get. So let's start checking. You've got and the name of the topic, which is present perfect. And here I have written the structure for the affirmative, negative, and interrogative. So the most important of this structure is the auxiliary have and has, and your verb in past participle, okay? So once that you have those elements together, we can call that tense present perfect, okay? You need both of those elements. I forgot to write the conjugation, so let's do it together. I, he, she, it, okay? So which one are we going to use with this one? Have or has? Okay, well, in this case, different to was and were, we have to take away the I, so we can conjugate it as a has, okay? So this is the third person singular conjugation. So we still have the rest, I, you, we, and they. So for obvious reasons, we're going to be using have to them. For example, she has visited, she has traveled, it has eaten. And in the case of I, you, we, they is I have played video games all my life. You have read that book many times. We have not traveled to China recently, and they have watch that movie many times, okay? So let's start checking other examples that I have written for you. And as you can see, there are some words that are in green color. That's because those are the elements that we normally use with this tense, okay? Present perfect and present perfect continuous are very, very similar, but I'm focusing on examples that probably only work on present perfect. So this is one of them. I have lived in Merida since I was born. This is a typical phrase that we want to say in English. So this is the correct way to do so. Since I was born, since I was in elementary school, since I was 2 years old, this is the normal expression in which we say it in English. Now, a negative one, I haven't been to Las Coloradas yet, okay? So yet means that it's something that maybe in the future you're going to do. It's something probable, but not yet, okay? I'm going to do it, but not yet. In the future, I will do it, okay? Now, interrogative, have you done your online learning activities yet? Of course, I have already done them. I'm a responsible student, okay? So in this case, again, we have yet. As you can see, yet is normally used in negative and also in the interrogative way. And another, like its counterpart would be already. So already is used only in affirmative. The translation is not really the same. I'm not gonna get into detail, but just bear in mind that yet and already are usually used together, okay? Now, we move on to the usage of this tense. Normally, we use present perfect to talk about experiences, okay? For example, I have tried curry. It's the name of food, okay, Indian food. Also in Japan, they eat it a lot. So I have tried curry. I have eaten curry. It's an experience. I have already done that. You can include, sorry, you can include I have already. You can include it here. And so another green one is practically the same meaning. Now, so already gives more emphasis to something that you have already done, okay? You have previously done. What's the opposite, okay? Let's take away already so it works easily. Tell me, guys, what would be the negative of I have tried curry? Okay. There are two versions in which you can make this one negative, but probably the one that you use is this one. I haven't tried, okay, sushi. And you can include a yet if you want. It's not necessary, but you can do it, okay? So I haven't tried sushi yet, or I haven't tried sushi is correct. And the second one, this one, it's not very likely that you have said it, but if you did it, that's great. Okay, you are thinking outside the box. So then other example would be I have never tried sushi. This is quite interesting in English because we are using never. So I think in this case it would be an adverb. I'm not really sure if it's working as an adverb, but the interesting thing is that you cannot combine haven't and never. No, I haven't never tried sushi is incorrect. No, but at the same time, the structure is affirmative, but the meaning is negative. Now, so that's something cool in English. The easy way is this one, okay? And this is like another way that you can say it. Now we move on. I'm gonna change this one to green because it's another word that we could use with this, okay? Now, another phrase could be, none of you has been to SAC so far. So none of you is the same as nobody. So nobody has been to SAC, none of you has been to SAC so far is completely correct. And remember the conjugation, no one has, somebody has, and nobody has, anybody has, etc., etc. is third person singular. It's considered like a his, she, or it, whichever of those. So nobody has been to SAC so far. This only applies to pre-intermediate too, okay? Intermediate one students have been to SAC. Now, this is the first and the most typical use or usage of present perfect. Now, these are other uses that you have to bear in mind. They are in red because I think they are super interesting because they are like exceptions or they are preferred when you are talking in present perfect. These red ones are not normally used in present perfect continuous. That is one of the few differences they have. So let's focus on number or quantity. You have, I have watched Avengers 4 times. How many times have you watched Avengers? 4 times, 3 times, once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, okay? So you are talking about the number of times you have done something, okay? So in this case, we prefer to use present perfect, not continuous. Another example, Mahathi has visited our class twice. How many times has she visited our class? 2 times or twice, okay? We prefer to use twice in American English. We say once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. In British, I think they normally say once, 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, okay? Maybe it's the other way around, but bear in mind that in some dialects, they don't use twice, and in others, they say 2 times. It's the only thing to consider, okay? I use twice very often. Now, state verbs, okay? What are state verbs? Well, for example, like, love, be, have, see, know, etc. These are verbs that don't normally go in ing in English. We don't normally say liking, loving, being as an auxiliary sometimes, having sometimes, not seeing, knowing especially. No, we don't normally say knowing very often in English, okay? Let's see some examples. I've loved pizza since I was a child. Since I was a child. We don't normally say, I have been loving pizza. It's not natural, doesn't sound good in English, okay? Another example is, I have already seen that movie. I have already been seeing that movie. Sounds very unnatural in English. So this is a good example where we normally or almost always use present perfect simple, the normal one. And finally, this one is in blue. because I consider it's a usage that we don't have in Spanish. Normally, present perfect in English and Spanish sound very, very similar, but this usage is not common in Spanish from Mexico. In Spanish from France, probably, okay? Or in French, if you're studying French also, it is, sometimes happens. So let's take a look for recent events. I've just finished my homework. Here's another word that you can consider that is like very, very common with present perfect. I've just finished my homework. And another, yes, mom, I've already cleaned my bedroom. This is another good example and another word. Now, think about the translation into Spanish. I've just finished my homework. What is that in Spanish? How do you say it? Okay, the best translation, not literal, but the way in which we speak in Spanish is ya acabé mi tarea. We don't normally say, ya he acabado mi tarea in Mexico, okay? So this is a difference because in English it's something recent. I have just done it. I have just finished this video. I have just explained present perfect, like right now, okay? That's the meaning. And yes, mom, I've already cleaned my bedroom. Sí, mamá, ya limpié mi cuarto, ya limpié mi habitación. So in that case, we are saying I have already cleaned. So it's not that we normally say, ya he limpiado mi cuarto, madre. So it's not really common like to say it like that, no? One more thing that we could add to this, let me see, is years of experiences so far since I was, let me think which it was, okay. Since I was born, I have been to Colorado, I have tried 4 times since already. I think that's it. Maybe if I remember what I wanted to correct, I will include it on the following video, okay? So I hope you have understood this topic. If you were to have any question, please let me know. Maybe not on the comments, but personally to my email account, okay? So thank you guys and goodbye.